Hey y'all, it's your travel bestie Kat, and today we're going to talk with Debbie. She's our decisively single silver Cinderella godmother, and she's going to help us realize that when we look great, we feel great, and the world responds, and magic happens, whether it's travel or business or life in general. So join me in welcoming Debbie and say, "Hey y'all."
I have a confession. You could be my first one, so you got to walk
Oh,
me through it.
yay. Okay.
I'm a
Well,
virgin.
we're just gonna have some fun and we're gonna chat. Because your journey is very powerful, your whole story. I was doing some Facebook stalking, as Debbie Page tells us to do, and just the way you've reinvented yourself. So, tell me a little bit about you. Take us back to that moment when life shifted and your chapter two began, and what that turning point was like for you, and
Okay.
all that.
So, 5 years ago, on my eldest child's 25th birthday, it's the day I always celebrate because I became a mom. My husband, who's now my ex, slipped divorce papers underneath the door. I had just come back from going to her apartment and doing a super massive cleaning because she was away skiing. I was a surprise. And I kind of knew it was coming, but it's still. And I remember saying to him, of all the days, this is the day you pick. And he goes, he goes, I forgot. I said, that's not a good excuse. But it was looking back now, we were meant to be divorced. But at that time, it was very, very painful and very, it was horrible. It was traumatic, especially we were married 30 years, and I thought I'd be married for life. That we were just at the point now where our children were leaving the nest, and there was going to be some time together. We had some issues in the last 10 years, but again, we were approaching a new, the new silver part of our lives. So. All right, so I did what most women do. I went into major depression. I don't think I combed my hair for 6 months. I had the birds tweeting around me, looking to put a nest in it. And I finally said, you know what? I studied to become a image impact strategist, which is a fancy way of saying stylist. It is my chapter two because I worked on Wall Street for 3 decades. I was a bond analyst, and I covered all the fun stuff, like the retail, textile apparel, consumer products. So I got to write about, like I said, all the fun things that we women use. And I left Wall Street in 2008 because I wanted to be a better mom to my children. And then I said, entrepreneurship. I said, well, I like to analyze things. So instead of analyzing companies and balance sheets, why don't I analyze people? And starting with women.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I said, it's wonderful to be able to look at a woman or man and see their God given attributes and learn how to be able to bring out the best in them. So, and that started me. But then I wanted to find my niche, and my niche found me. So I made my mess my mission and my pain my purpose because what I was going through is probably universal. Every widow and divorcee, especially over 50, that's what we call them, silver Cinderellas. Um, it's very, very hard to be faced that kind of trauma. Um, you're you're older, so it's harder to make friends. And ironically, most women become friends with the husband's friends' wives. Okay. And when you're so this time of your life, you're suddenly you need your friends. But here's the deal: your friends have to get used to the new entity. They know you as a couple. So it's not that they're being mean, but most people, when they are faced with a uncomfortable situation, they retreat. Right. So it's not like to be mad at them. They're not taking sides. They just don't know how to do it. So they default to what's safe, and that is retreat. So here you are, like your most vulnerable time. You need a friend, and there's nobody there, right? So that was a problem I needed to solve. The other problem was that we needed most divorcees and widows who are they need a way to be uplifted instantaneously, and we have financial advisors and therapists and lawyers, and God knows we need them, and they're very helpful as we're going through this trauma, but it's not instantaneous. It takes time. But tell a woman to change her lipstick, wear a different color, you know, that that sweater is not doing anything for you. You need to make it lower so you look taller and leaner. Oh my God, those are instant changes. And we know as women, when we look good, we feel great. And when we feel great, magic happens. So that's how I got involved to become the AKA Fairytale Godmother for decisively single, silver Cinderellas, choice or fate to always look great. So I had to be my own fairy godmother and I'm sharing it.
I love that title, that Fairytale Godmother for decisively single silver Cinderellas. That is amazing. And I love how that transformation looks just in your life from meeting you in Florida. It's amazing. What do women often forget about themselves during these major life transitions?
Um, oh, they forget to self pamper. They just so depressed that you just don't want to get out of bed. Like I said, I didn't put a comb to my hair for like months. So the birds are
Yeah.
tweeting. You don't get out of your clothes. You're wearing sweats. So you're doing all the things that keep you in this vicious cycle because you're mourning. And that's okay. We all deserve time to mourn, but eventually we have to come out of it. And I think my boot camp, like I said, it solves two problems. It solves the problem of finding new friends because misery loves company. But I like meets like, it's good to know because nobody else understands you better than one who's going through the same footsteps. And two, it'll help you to do instantaneously work to make yourself look good. You don't have to wait for it. You don't have to wait like it's there. You're getting told what colors. That's immediately affecting you. So
Because you briefly touched on it, but how much does what you wear actually affect your confidence in your opportunities
oh,
for things in life?
all right. So I have a really cute story about that. I remember I worked on Wall Street, so I was very, being a woman among the men makes you a little bit tougher. And I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, so I have a little bit of an edge to me. So I took after I was going through my depression, I also figured out that divorce is a battlefield, and you have to get the emotions out, and you have to be a strategic general, a 5-star one. So, and this is totally related to how color and dressing affects you. My husband's only a year younger than me. We had to. This was happening in 2021, so it was after COVID. So we had to do a Zoom call. So I made sure that I wore the worst colors to make my skin look really sallow. I pulled up back into a granny bun. I got granny glasses, and we are waiting for the judge to come on, and the lawyers are coming on. And my ex he wouldn't show his face, but I made sure I did. And then as we're starting, I said, "Oh, Your Honor, after 30 years, because I'm 60, he's dubbing me." And the judge says, "No, Miss," and I was my married name was Downey. "Mrs. Downey, please, you're not allowed to talk. Only your counsel could do that." I'm like, "Okay, oh, Your Honor, I'm so sorry. Yes." I, and I did present as an old, and I had the judge in my hand, and so it was
Oh,
it
yeah.
was great. And then we had to go for. He made us do one final in person one. The same thing. I dressed the worst colors for me, and the funny thing was, by this time, I had some work done. So I had to use like black eyeshadow to make my eyes to come. But damn it, I did it.
Yes.
So there's how an easy example. And here's another little funny part about it, because I'm a former research analyst. So my ex's lawyer was very aggressive and belligerent. He was like me,
Oh,
and my lawyer, she was sweet and passive aggressive, and no, she was passive, very very laid back. Like my husband is, but that's how we always balance each other out. I mean, I do it. I had to have to put a mirror under her breath to see if she was alive. But anyway, but his lawyer was out there he saw my ex as a cash cow, and he was giving him such bad advice. So we're at the mediations. First, I got there first. My ex got there after me, and then our lawyers came. And like I said, the judge said we had to have this last in-face mediation, then we'd go to court. And we really didn't want to go to court because that's very expensive. So we get there, and him and his lawyer walk out to another room. And I'm like, I told my lawyer, "Come on, let's leave." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "After 30 years of marriage, if he can't face me across the table, I'll see him in court." So then the two of them, my ex and his lawyer, come back sheepishly. And now we're all around a circle table with me and my ex directly facing each other, his lawyer next to him, my lawyer next to me, and the mediator in the middle. And, we were pretty much getting along, except we purchased our first home, we purchased was a ski home. And I was the one who was making a lot more money than he was. It was my down payment, and he pulled a few fast ones, like ladies. Whenever you get inheritance, make sure whoever gets it that you combine it, because we had just got his father's inheritance and he did not combine it. He asked me to help him invest it. The nice guy, and I did. I helped him. I trusted him. So guess
yeah.
what? That was off the table. Meanwhile, all my inheritances that I put combined. So it was totally, you know, that was not nice of him. So,
No.
but I wanted to keep the ski house because when we purchased it, we were only married like 5 months. People had said, "What? You're buying your vacation home first?" But we had a good deal, and we used to be ski instructors, so it was a perfect thing for us. So I said to him, "Look, I will buy you out." But we bought it for 162, and I wanted to pay him 350, and his lawyer wanted 475. So that was a big fighting because that was the market value. But
Oh,
I wanted to keep it for our daughters because I didn't want them to lose that home. We were already selling the marital home, so his lawyer was being an idiot. So finally, I got mad. I said, "Dave, stop thinking of. I said, start thinking about Danny and Diana. That's our daughters. And stop thinking about Susanna, Carolyn, and Judy. That's the lawyers." And he gets up, his lawyer goes, "Oh, how dare you?" And he slams the thing. Very dramatic. This guy was like, was ready for an Oscar. And my ex goes, "Because that's the way she is, right?" And they storm out of the room. My heart is pounding, like, oh my God, it's pounding. And my lawyer in the meeting goes, "Now you did it. Now you poked the bear. Now we got to go and mollify him." So they go off. They come back with my ex's offer. And of course it was crappy. But meanwhile, I was just trying to calm. I tried to use my head. And I said a quick prayer to the Holy Spirit. So when they showed this to me, I said, "No, that's not going to work." They go, "Oh, by the way, please tell Steve," I said, "that next time he goes on a Zoom call, he shouldn't be discussing his children before before the court case starts." And they had to go back. And guess what? I got a much better deal. Okay, but the funny thing was, I did research this crap. I knew where his lawyer lived, where the car he drove, what car his wife drove, where the daughters went to school. I knew everything, what he voted for, because that's who I am. That's what I do. So my ex was right. She goes, "That's how she is." But but he made a big boo boo. He should, you're not supposed to be
yeah.
discussing your personal life on so
No.
so I'm writing a book, by the way, called "The Decisively
Ooh,
Single Silver Cinderella. Choice or fate always look great. Choice because you're a divorcee, and fate because you're a widow." But it's all about, ladies, helping yourself, doing easy things to improve your appearance and quickly. And because we
that's
all know
amazing.
when we look good, we feel good, and we feel good, magic happens. But it's not going to be your typical how-to book. I'm definitely putting a lot of Debbie's in because I think that my journey of my divorce, and I love to be funny, but a lot of the stuff that happened, is funny in hindsight. And I think it'd be a good story to share to make that book a little bit more interesting.
And I think that stories help people make it through their story, when
Right.
they're in the trenches, so to speak. But like you said, when someone finally sees themselves vibrant again, don't you feel like that just emotionally changes them?
Yes.
Changes
Oh, definitely.
everything.
I mean, first of all, when you're putting in the right color. So, I'm a spring, and when I was younger, I was very like a golden honey blonde, and I can wear very vibrant colors. Like springs could wear, like a true spring could wear like a chartreuse, which is that bright yellow green. That's very, and it's amazing because when you do a color analysis, you're supposed to take off all your makeup, pull your hair back, and and you get to see, you want yourself to be as natural as possible, and then you can determine by doing the color swatches, you can actually see how the different colors affect your skin. So, and that is instantaneous. When you have the right color on, your skin looks the way it's meant to be. Your eyes pop. It's amazing. And then
Yeah.
and then it gives a woman the confidence to go to her closet, and just like when you go to a divorce or a widowhood, you got to clean out the old crap. All right. So that's one easy way is you know how to clean out the stuff that doesn't do you any justice. All those colors, and a lot of us women wore colors that our exes loved. My ex
Yeah.
happened to love purple. So and we can wear colors. We have to just wear different shades. One of the things too about color analysis is that you don't change your season. If I was I was a vibrant spring in my 20s when I had very honey gold hair. I'm still a spring, but I'm a muted spring now because I have to wear because of the white hair. And it's so funny because people who meet me for the first time will say I'm a summer because I have the white hair. Because color analysis is affected by three things. The most noticeable thing people see about you is your hair, and then your skin, and the last thing is your eyes, because we have to go really close. So by putting yourself in the right colors, that helps you stand out. And that 7 seconds that people make a determination of you is more favorable. So,
Oh, okay. Now we just got back, you and I, from Platinum Summit in Winter Park, Florida. So we were traveling. So on that note, when you're packing to go on a trip like that, how do we not overpack? What are the three things that we know we need to take for our work trips that are must haves in our wardrobe?
Okay, so for one thing, once you know your colors, okay, then you want to do, you want to always carry a neutral that favors you. And again, the neutrals are the whites, the blacks, the beiges, but they are different shades for different seasons. Okay, but so you always want to have a neutral. You always want to be able to. It's like you're going on a trip to Europe. You don't want to overpack, so you always want to make sure that you're wearing a capsule. And what a capsule is a bunch of outfits that you can interchange. So you can mix and match and get more wear out of it. Um,
Okay.
Now at the conference we were just at, it was wow. We were with such an amazing woman like yourself, and it was great. And Sandra Yancey was talking about the impact of dressing the right way because too many of us, especially in this casual day, where even when I used to work on Wall Street, we had to dress up. Now it's much more casual. Because people are allowed to blend working from home and going to the office, and the offices also have a more casual feel. But I'm telling you, back in the day when I was on Wall Street, there's nothing like feeling powerful in a true suit, decked out. It's like, come on, men, bring it on. And I have another funny story about that. I was after I left Wall Street, I went to work for a small credit union. So I went from the Big Apple, Wall Street, Manhattan, very powerful people, to working locally in New Jersey, but ashore, when I worked for one of the oldest credit unions. And the CEO was not doing the right thing. He was doing things he shouldn't be doing, and I found it out. And as soon as I found it out, he fired me. So I had a retaliation lawsuit.
Oh.
So I hired another really good lawyer, and we go in, and I pulled out my Wall Street wardrobe. I wore a blue pinstripe suit, white collar, pearls, the whole. I am woman, hear me, raw power. And we go in, and my lawyer's dressed up like I am, and the credit union's lawyer was dressed like Mr. Rogers, the sweater and all that. And I'm like, and he's trying to intimidate me, and I'm like, see, as you feel powerful too. And I'm like, really? Mr. Rogers is trying to hide. He's going, how dare you? How dare you accuse? I go, and I said, I can dare any way I want. I said, what he can't do is he can't fire me as retaliation. And
Yep.
we resolved it. And after it was over. We never went to court. I got a little, so his lawyer told my lawyer, we can never take her to court. She would decimate us. And that was, so you see, so ladies, truly dressing up can really, you can change the circumstances. It's very easy.
You can own the room. Well, how do you think travel or new experiences help women rediscover themselves after major life changes like you helped them with?
Well, I love travel and I love what you're doing. And it's, travel expands us. Okay. We become out of our little tight little things and we can see a new world. It opens up to so many possibilities. And, we we humans are made to always be moving, and the more we move the better, and the more we move and by travel and it's going to other parts of the country, other parts of the world, it's just we see such amazing things and we learn, and we get to see people not as stereotypes. We get to actually experience people, and we see there's, I still believe that there's more kindness in the world, even in these challenging times. And that's one of the best things. Then we get to see also the beauty of the world, the beauty of former generations and our ancestors. It's like, I love the Big Apple. It's going through a lot of changes, but even over my 65 years, I've gone to see the changes in New York City. I mean, I remember the World Trade Center being built, Twin Towers, and then the heartbreak of, and I see the new build and the Oculus and the rebirth, because New Yorkers are strong. But and look, Paris, if you go there to see the Notre Dame, it was horrible what happened, but they're rebuilding it. So it's travel gives us the understanding and beauty of the past with the promise of the future.
Nice. What's the most transformative destination you've ever traveled to? Somewhere where you went and you experienced an aha moment.
Okay, so when I was 22, my girlfriends and I went to Europe. We went in August. Okay, the three of us, and we didn't have much money, so we did a Rome. No, we did a London, Paris, Rome trip. All right, so and I kind of got, it was a lot of fun. But when we were in Paris the last day, we had a challenge. We went to the shopping center down there. That big that big department store, begins with an I. I'm forgetting the name
Oh,
right
okay.
now. But so we split up. We gave ourselves 3 hours, and we had a challenge. Whoever buys the most unusual thing will win. So
Oh.
I did not study French in school. I studied Spanish. But anyway, I went into a salon that nobody spoke English, and I had a haircut, coupe. Right? Not only a cut, I got a color too. I got highlights, all
Oh
that.
my gosh.
I won. I won. But it
Okay,
was
that
like, yeah, it was transformative because I found out that, again, I always loved anything to do with, appearance and all that, but that's a universal. All women want to help other women look good. We really do, and especially in salons. And it was so much fun. I mean, it was scary. I mean, I'm putting
Oh, that's
myself.
terrifying to me. Like you language barrier, getting your hair done. Like I work in a salon too, and I won't let anyone do my hair when we move to a new place until I've like watched them for like 6 months. And you just rolled into a foreign country and we're like, I don't speak French. Bonjour, do my hair.
Like I said, like don't try to say don't cut too much. I'm like, and somehow, and again, and I got the highlights. It's like,
Oh my
but
gosh.
that was that was a lot of fun. And they know what it taught me when I said about being transformative, because since I was 22, was that life's an adventure and take on a challenge. You know, right?
So yeah, you've been trend setting from the get go, is what I'm hearing. All right, when you travel now, are you a solo girly or group energy?
I like both. As a matter of fact, I belong to a bunch of great divorce groups on Facebook, and one of them is planning a trip to Alaska, a cruise, and that's been on
Ooh.
my bucket list. So if I can't find a friend, I'm going alone. I don't care.
Have you never done Alaska yet? You've never
No,
been?
no. I
Oh,
want.
our middle son lives there, so we love Alaska. If you have any questions or you need help, hit me up
All
because
right. Well,
I love Alaska.
so
When you're
yes.
traveling, are you heels or sneakers?
Um, I'm for going around to the airports. I'm definitely slip-ons. It's just much easier, you know. Yeah, but I love. I also curate. I do wear and share, and I only curate products that I wear myself. So I curate, and you couldn't tell at the conference because unfortunately I couldn't wear them because I'm of the pelvic fracture. But I curate Allura heels, Alora heels, and they're amazing. They have a cork platform. They're from Spain,
Mm,
and they have heels in various sizes, 2 inches, 3 inches, in stilettos or in block or in wedge, and you really can wear them. But you can't beat the feel of Alora's 12-hour heel. It is very true, and even for trekking across Spain with all the cobblestones, they don't hurt. And my
that's
nieces,
awesome.
yeah, I'm vertically challenged, as if you remember. I like I said, I actually, as you get older, you kind of lose some inches, so I'm down to about 5'1". So so I really do like my 3-inch heels. And when I was in my 50s, I would find out if I wore heels days in a row. But
Oh,
but I love these shoes because you're not. You totally can wear. I wore them to my niece's wedding. I danced, and I wore 4-inch heels they were gorgeous. But they were the Allura, they were the Glimmer. They had silver and gold in them, and I danced every dance. I was on my feet all day, and the next day I did not hurt at all. I was able to go to the breakfast, and so they really do work.
that's a selling point for sure. Okay, what's one word that describes your chapter two that you're on?
Exciting, exciting. You know,
Love it. That is the best word, right?
yeah.
Where can my listeners find you and connect with you if they want to begin their transformation journey or they just need help with style?
Oh, I would love to be contacted. Well, first, they can help me by building up my Facebook group, and it's called the Fairytale Godmother for Decisively Single Silver Cinderellas. It's on Facebook, and I would love to welcome them in my group, and if they could just start following me. And my email is Debbie Debbie Jurek Jurek stylist stylist @gmail.com. And
Excellent.
and if they could come from you, I'll be like, I would love to, schedule some time with them.
Yay. What's a message that you want to share with women who are entering their next chapter, something that they need to hear today, a little takeaway to brighten their day?
Okay. So any chapter, what you're going through, whether it's traumatic like a divorce or widowhood, or exciting like starting a new job or starting a new business. Remember, it's like a cha-cha. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. So expect the 2 steps back, but know that you're going to also be going 3 steps forward. So just so enjoy the dance, right? Even the sad part, enjoy
Yeah.
it because you're not going to stay still. And we're going to have our challenges, but if you keep the right attitude, you're going to get to where you want to be. If you had told me 5 years ago when I was like in my sweat clothes with bird's nest hair and crying that I was going to be doing this and helping women because I said I'm living my passion. I wouldn't have realized it, but I trusted it, and it was so funny because God works in weird ways. Again, I was all excited about starting 2026 perspective. The word for 2026 is perspective, looking at things from a better, happier view. And I'm out there on New Year's Day shoveling my mother's driveway, and I fall, and I'm like, please God, don't let it be the hip. Well, the good news was the hip. It was a pelvic fracture, but I was stuck at my mom's then because I couldn't go back to New Jersey because I live on upper level. It's 18 steps, and my
Yeah.
home and my ski home in Hunter. Well, I couldn't ski, but that's also modular. So
Yeah.
multi level. So I couldn't go there. So my mom is all on one level, and January 12th, I get an invite from the Women's Club of Red Bank, and they told me that I could. They invited me to an event on the 13th, which we all know, ladies, that's not good. You kind of got to give people a little bit more lead time to the day. And there was no way I was going to go because I was stuck in Connecticut, not going to go back to Jersey. But I remembered I'm a member, and they have this great venue, and I said, I need to do this. I'm going to do a truncated version, and I'm going to call it the Galentine's Day Luncheon. And I jumped into it. I called it, and no sooner did I commit than I get the invite to because I had missed the deadline for the E-Woman Platinum Summit, and that came up, and I'm like, well, this is all happening. I'm going to do it. So even though it was a Saturday, it was a Saturday of a 3-day weekend, and but you know what? The people that showed up were meant to show up, and they're all going to be able to go to my full day boot camp now for half price. And my vendors,
Yay.
yay! And my vendors who were so supportive and wonderful, I said they also going to be a vendor at the full day event for free because I wanted to make sure that I'm very much into being fair and I think in business we have to. It's always better to give more than you get, right?
Yeah.
I have to tell you to that.
It was so great to get to know you better. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and
Yes.
I love your sparkle. I love your glasses too. I love you have a great fashion sense with your glasses. You're amazing.
Oh yeah, I have 15 different pairs. So
Yes, and you see, even at the conference every day I was watching you, they highlight your skin and your eyes beautifully, and they give a different vibe. So
yeah.
it's yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, you have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too. Have a great weekend.